so it says real name unrevealed, possibly Jim, Robin, and Harry. Case lost friends. Location Ardennes Forest, Belgium. Date December 24th, 1944. Okay, this is the case. Here we go. Details. This story is one of the most remarkable tales to ever come out of World War II. Remarkable for the fact that it involves no fighting or bloodshed. In January 1973, Reader's Digest magazine published the account titled Truce in the Forest, and in 1985 it was a focal point of a speech given by then President Ronald Reagan. Now, Fritz Vincken, the German man at the center of the story, hopes to find 3 unknown American soldiers and write the closing chapter of this amazing saga. In December 1944, the battered German army launched its last great offensive along an 85-mile front in Belgium's Ardennes Forest, the infamous Battle of the Bulge. Nearly 16,000 American soldiers would lose their lives. Another 60,000 would be wounded or captured. It was the costliest battle the United States would wage in any war. And this is crazy too, the Battle of the Bulge, if I'm right, it was like we were about to, I think, either take Berlin or we were really going after Hitler, and it was a surprise attack to see the Germans go offensive for the U.S. The U.S. was totally unprepared, and they lost a lot of lives because of it. Within earshot of the fighting, on the edge of the Ardennes Forest, near the German/Belgian border, stood a small, isolated hunting cabin. There, Fritz, then 12, lived with his mother Elizabeth, anticipation of an unexpected Christmas dinner. Then there was a knock at the door. Fritz and Elizabeth thought that it must be more Americans. Fritz went and opened the door. To their surprise, there were 4 German soldiers outside. He was petrified with fear. I would be too. They said that they had lost their unit and asked if they could warm up for a bit. Elizabeth told them that not only would they be allowed to warm up, they would get a nice dinner, but only if they accepted her guests. Elizabeth said to the Germans, "This is Christmas night. There will be no shooting around here. Put your arms in the wooden shed, and then we can have a nice Christmas." They agreed to put their weapons in the shed. Meanwhile, Elizabeth turned to the Americans, who, by then, noticed that some Germans were coming. She told them to turn in their weapons as well. They also agreed. She then told Fritz to get more potatoes and water, as they had more mouths to feed. For a minute or two, there was tension in the room, but then, according to Fritz, the warmth and good smells began to take the edge off. There was a sense of hospitality in the room. The Germans produced a bottle of wine and a loaf of bread. The Americans shared their cigarettes. They discovered that one of the German soldiers spoke English. He told them that he was a medical student before the war. The German soldier went over to the wounded American soldier and asked the Americans in English what was wrong with him. They told him that he had been shot. He looked at the wound and determined that, although the American soldier had lost a lot of blood, the cold weather prevented his wound from being infected. He said he should recover, provided some rest and nourishment. He also had a first aid kit and applied dressing to the wound. Throughout the evening, he would, every now and then, go and look after the wounded soldier. That night, hostilities ceased in at least one corner of the forest, as American and German soldiers sat down together to honor the Christmas spirit. Elizabeth said grace. However, it was not a regular prayer. It was something spontaneous. She said, "Let's all be thankful to the Lord for being together tonight, being peaceful in this terrible war. Let's enjoy dinner, the little things that we have, and let's promise to be friendly to each other forever, if possible. Let's also pray for an end to this terrible war, so that we all can go home very soon." Fritz says that by that time, all of the soldiers were crying. He was surprised to see even the German sergeant in tears. When they ate, the tears disappeared, but from then on, there was a feeling of friendship that permeated the whole room. He says it was wonderful and unforgettable. After dinner, the soldiers drifted outside one by one. Elizabeth and Fritz soon joined them as they gazed heavenward. Each gave thanks in their own way. That night, the men would sleep side by side under the same roof. The differences were temporarily set aside. Fritz says the soldiers were so peaceful. One would never think that they were two different kinds of soldiers, and that just one day before, they would have shot at each other. Fritz remembers that the spirit of brotherhood continued the next morning. The Germans helped to construct a makeshift stretcher for the injured American, and then gave the other Americans directions anyone, but that special night in 1944 remains a defining moment of his life. He now hopes to find the soldiers who helped him learn the true meaning of Christmas. Fritz says that showed him what his mother could do, and it showed him what one single human being can do to avoid bloodshed and to bring peace. It also showed him at a very early age that we are, and this is a quote, we are all alike. No matter what uniform we wear, we have the same joys, the same sorrows, the same problems, unquote. He says it was a very, very significant experience. He will never forget it. He also feels obligated to spread his mother's message that people should always be willing to help each other, no matter the situation. Fritz recalls only scant details about the American soldiers. He believes that the man who spoke French was named Jim. He had dark hair and a stocky build. He had studied banking in Ohio. The second soldier was named Robin, or possibly Warren. He was tall and slender with blonde hair. The wounded soldier was named Harry and nicknamed Herbie. He had dark hair and a slight build. Two of the German soldiers were named Heinz and Willie. They were both 16. The German corporal was 23. Wow, they are so young. Extra notes. So, this case first aired on March 24th, 1995. That episode. It was updated on February 23rd, 1996 episode. So these are all stemming from Unsolved Mysteries, like the TV show. Another note, it was also featured in a Lifetime movie called Silent Night. Wonder if it's good. It was submitted to the show by Fritz. So Fritz submitted this Unsolved Mystery. Some sources say it took place in Hertingen Forest. Okay. Actor Darren Gillam played young Fritz. He is also the great nephew of Robert Stack. I don't know who that is, but if you do, let me know in the comments. Yeah, I don't really know who that is. Results. So these are the results. Ready? Solved. After this story re-aired in October 1995, a man named Eldridge Ward called the Tell Center. He is a volunteer chaplain at the Northampton Manor Nursing Home in Frederick, Maryland. He recognized Fritz's story as one often recounted by a 76-year-old resident named Ralph Henry Blank. Ralph, a retired bricklayer from Frederick, had moved to the nursing home a year earlier due to heart problems. Unsolved Mysteries, the TV show, looked into Ralph's background and learned that in 1944 he had been a sergeant serving with the 121st Infantry 8th Division of the U.S. Army in Belgium. Along with Eldridge, Ralph had also told the story several times to his family. How cool is that? Think about, I wonder how their story's different too. Your perspective, how cool though they're saying the same story to each other. Along with Eldridge, Ralph had also told the story several times to his family. Fritz immediately phoned Ralph, and he confirmed that he was one of the soldiers who had celebrated Christmas with Fritz and Elizabeth. Fritz asked Ralph whether he remembered him from that night in the Ardennes, and he said, "Oh, yes." This is a quote, "Oh, yes, I remember you. You must be Fritz," unquote. He even still had the map and compass that one of the German soldiers gave him. Oh my god, yeah. Fritz was very excited that Ralph had been found, and he could hardly wait to meet him. On January 19th, 1996, Fritz flew to Maryland to meet Ralph. The two were joyfully reunited at Ralph's nursing home. Fritz says that he just had to look in his eyes and he knew it was him. Ralph recognized him as well, even though they had changed so much over the years. Fritz says it was a great experience once again when he left Germany. He says that the day of the reunion was a special one for him. Coincidentally, it took place just a day after another exciting event, Ralph's 50th wedding anniversary. To cap the joyous celebration, his daughter-in-law fixed the same meal Elizabeth had served some 52 years ago. A hearty bowl of chicken soup. Yo, that is so wholesome. Oh. Fritz says that the reunion was the high point of his life and the fulfillment of a lifelong dream. It was something he had given up all hope to experience. He and Ralph are proof that true friendship and brotherhood can endure time, distance, and the ravages of war. Fritz was also later reunited with another one of the American soldiers. It is not known if any of the German soldiers were located. However, it was noted that the German army had a high casualty rate in the final months of the war, leading Fritz to believe that they may have died in battle. Oh, that's so sad if that's true. On May 21st, 1999, Ralph passed away at the age of 79. On December 8th, 2001, Fritz passed away at the age of 69. And that is the story of Fritz Vincken and his friends in Germany. So, wow, I just don't know about you, but I can't really believe that story. When I heard about it, I was like, that's just incredible. It's cool that Christmas, is such a jolly good time, could, just bring people together. If I remember right, the German people, the German soldiers, they actually, they told him not to go to the Americans to go to that city, right? But then they also, gave him a compass and a map, basically making sure they got home. So they not only were nice to each other, but they ended up helping each other out to survive. And I didn't know that they were so young, 16 years old. And then the lieutenant was 23, that's such a baby. So I hope you enjoyed that story. I know I did. And if no one's told you already, I guess what this story is telling all of us is that it's just so important to accept each other. And although we may think we know each other's backgrounds and what we're going through and everything, at the end of the day, we're all just human beings on this crazy journey called life together, and we're all just doing our best, and we all want to feel like we matter, and we all want to help people when we can, and to just feel good, So you're special, you are so loved, and if you're still here in this video, if you could give this video a thumbs up, that'd be really great. It means a lot to me to see what you guys like and that you like the video. And if you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button. I don't know what you're waiting for. I do a lot of videos, and I'll just be so grateful to have you here. And make sure you hit the bell notification so it lets you know when my videos come out, so that you don't miss them, because you might subscribe but then life happens and then you never know. 2 months later you'll be like, oh wait, who is that cool guy Nick, right? And then you'll go searching through your subscriptions, and then you'll be like, oh, there he is, let me watch his videos, when all that could be not happening if you could just hit that bell, so that you can just find me